had to re-record this video. I was filming and something happened to the camera and then it turned out it didn't film anything. So now I have to just say what I was saying before. What was I saying? I don't remember. I don't have a script. I'm just like... Alright, so the idea for this video was for me to share what I've been working on in March. It's the 31st of March now, so I thought it'd be nice to share some things I've been doing in March, like projects I've been working on and illustrations I've been working on, and then maybe talk about what I have planned for like April. So at the start of March, I actually went on holiday to Greece. Before March, I was working on a book for like 4 months. In March, when I came back from my holiday, I was just helping like promote it on social media. The book is called Neurodivergent Toolkit for Youth. It's basically like an exercise book or like a resource book for teenagers who are neurodivergent or like high schoolers who are neurodivergent, but it's also appropriate for people who are older. That was like the main audience in mind, and I was the illustrator on this project, but I also helped to write the project application to receive the funding for this book because it's basically like a self-published book. So we received some like European funding for this resource booklet. It will also be available to download from the Neurodiversity Bulgaria website, which is the other organization that was part of this project. And anyone can download it, you can print it, you can redistribute it. So it's like a free resource, and it's the first of its kind in Bulgarian. Information about like being neurodivergent, having ADHD, having autism, complex PTSD, all of that jazz is usually in English, which is fine. I mean, most kids these days speak English, but still, like, we felt like it was important to kind of have this resource in Bulgarian. It contains a lot of like interesting exercises you can do to kind of understand yourself better as a neurodivergent person, or if you suspect you're neurodivergent but you're not sure, which was basically my experience when I was growing up. Like, I didn't, as a teenager or as a child, I didn't know anything about this. And then I think later on in the last couple of years of high school, I read randomly somewhere about ADHD and I thought it maybe sounds like me, but I wasn't sure. If I had had this resource when I was growing up, I think it would have helped me a lot, actually. I grew up in Romania, and it's a very similar situation to Bulgaria and much of East Europe. There's this kind of weird misunderstanding of being neurodivergent. ADHD, for example, is mainly considered to be a made-up thing, which I find very strange because it's very real, and like decades of research have been done on this. So I don't know. If you try to get diagnosed, for example, or if you try to like look up a psychologist or a psychiatrist in Bulgaria, or I'm assuming in Romania it's quite difficult as well. I haven't lived in Romania for 10 years, but I have tried in Bulgaria to find a psychologist and a psychiatrist who would like diagnose me with ADHD and who would give me the treatment that I need, and most of them are just like, oh, that's a made-up thing, or spreading outright misinformation, like saying that it's a thing that only little boys experience. I've just heard the most ridiculous thing from psychiatrists. Thankfully, I do have a psychologist now who is very much on board with my self-diagnosed ADHD, because I never actually got around to kind of getting an official diagnosis. And to be honest, I'm kind of over it now anyway, because I've learned in recent years that actually self-diagnosis is really important and very valid. So if that's you, then that's fine. But yeah, when I was a teenager, you know, in school, teachers didn't really grasp what was up with me, because everyone was like, oh, you're so smart and so talented, but you're so like unfocused, and you're so lazy, but you're so smart. So if you just like applied yourself, and if you just like worked harder, then you could achieve so many things because you're so smart. And I was always getting like mixed messages of like, I'm smart, but I'm kind of stupid and lazy at the same time. Which obviously as a kid, it messes with your head. And then, yeah, my parents definitely didn't understand at all what was going on with me. I feel like a book like this would have, even if I couldn't explain it to the adults around me, it would have helped me understand. It would have helped me feel less like insane or weird, or you know, this idea of like being lazy is so ridiculous anyways. Everyone who worked on this book is neurodivergent, which is really cool. So it really is like a resource made for neurodivergent people, by neurodivergent people. It's in Bulgarian and it looks really nice. I already saw a copy of it. I haven't held it in my hands yet. I'm really excited about that. I hope they will ship me like a copy soon, the rest of the team. Yeah, the other exciting thing about this project is that once it's printed, 2 members of our team will be going around Bulgaria hosting workshops with teenagers and like young people to present the book, to promote the book, and also to, yeah, complete some of the exercises inside of the book and stuff. So I think that's really nice. This book has been like a lot of work, and it's really been like a labor of love for sure. Also, the other interesting thing that happened on this project was because everyone on the team is acquainted with each other, like we're friends or we know each other, and we're all neurodivergent, as I said. And you know, like working with your friends is really exciting, but then sometimes it's a bit like you rub each other the wrong way. So there were some moments like that at the start of the book process, but I think we kind of managed to understand each other eventually, and then from then on it was like smooth sailing. But I think when you have like different neurodivergent people working on the same project, you all have like different communication styles and like different needs. And even just something like the design of the book, you know, it took us a while to like agree on what it should look like. We tried to make it, the design of the book, we tried to make it as accessible as possible. So like we use this font which is called Addis, and it's made by a dyslexic person for dyslexic people, and we just tried to keep the colors pastel, and we tried to keep the design like pretty and beautiful but not like overwhelming to look at. And that was like a really difficult balance to strike, just because like me myself, I'm more of a maximalist in my art, so it was a cool challenge for me, I think, to try to set aside my own preferences and still make illustrations that are me and I'm proud of and I want to look at them, but also like keep in mind other people's needs. I think it came out really cool. So that was that. When I came back from my trip to Greece, I went to a bazaar, which was part of a festival in Varna. It's called Emergence Art Festival. The festival itself is called Emergence Art Festival, and it's also an emerging festival. I think it's only like on the 2nd edition this year. And it's trying to kind of promote, I guess, new artists on the scene. I applied to their open call and I got invited to participate, and there was an exhibition, like a group exhibition, as well as like an opportunity to participate in a bazaar. So I went to this art market fair that they were putting together. It was my first time visiting Varna. Varna is very cute. I didn't have enough time to kind of go around because I was only there for 2 days and 1 night. I walked around a bit, but it was very, very freezing. And thankfully during the day, while the bazaar was happening, it was sunny. So we were outside in the sea garden, which is this beautiful park next to the sea. A lot of people were passing by. It was really nice. But then as soon as the sun would go away, it would become freezing. So anyways, I would go to Varna again on like a day trip and explore the city more because it's quite cool. When I came back from Greece, I also moved back to the village where I lived for most of the year with my partner. Yeah, the village house needed a big spring cleaning. So when I came back, I spent like a week just deep cleaning everything. It was so exhausting, but obviously it was worth it. And everything looks nice now and organized, and the garden still needs a lot of cleaning, but that's fine. We're gonna be here for like 8 months, and yeah, I look forward to being here and working here, and I'm going to share some more snippets of my life here because it's very different to when I live in Sofia, in the capital. I'm kind of sick of like city life, so that's why we moved here. cats are with us, Murmur and Lupin. They're having a good time in the village. However, there are a lot of ticks right now outside, so we can't really let them outside much right now. That's because it's spring and it's wet now, so there's a lot of ticks, and when the weather gets nicer, they'll be able to go outside more. Should we let Lupin in? The spring equinox happened, and on the day of the spring equinox, I was like, oh my god, it's the spring equinox. I always forget these things happen. Like, it always takes me by surprise. And I always want to make an illustration to mark the occasion, but I always kind of forget. On the day of the spring equinox, I started working on an illustration, which then took me some days to finish, and I posted it on Patreon for like my paid members there, and it will be made public in about a week or less than a week. And then I'll post it on Instagram as well. That was a fun piece to work on. It's a bit different from my usual stuff. It doesn't have an outline. Usually my illustrations have an outline, but I feel myself kind of moving away from that style and maybe transitioning to artwork without line art. The stuff I made for the Neurodivergent toolkit, the illustrations I made there were also without a line art, and I enjoyed working like that. So I think maybe I'm, changing my style up a bit. What else? I'm kind of just adjusting to village life. Every time I move here, it takes me a while to get back into it. In terms of what I'm going to do in April, I have another book project lined up, and I'm going to start working on it tomorrow. And it's a children's book, and it's written by a child, and it's made for a client that is basically a community center in the UK, and they have this like writing competition for children, kids about like 8 years old, around that age. They submit a story that they wrote, and then the winner gets to have their story published with illustrations. And I've already made 2 books for them, and so this is the 3rd one, which is really nice that it's like a recurring client, and they're really sweet people to work with. The other 2 books were also written by a child. Coincidentally, the child in question is my cousin, who got to have 2 of her stories published. cute project. It was really fun to work on these. And it's basically part of like a literacy initiative, I think. They're trying to promote literacy in like young children. One thing I forgot to mention is that my little cousin Alex, who wrote the books, they organized an event for her to present the book and to read the book out loud. And they even had this cute like bus filled with books, and a lot of school children attended. They were giving out like free copies of the book, and they had a Q&A and a live reading. It's just really nice and really thoughtful. It's a super cute project. The story that I got sent now is written by a boy. I'm not sure how old he is, maybe like 8 or 9. It's a really wacky story. It involves space aliens as well as dragons. It's so much is going on. So I think it's gonna be cute. And I basically have 2 months to do that. So in April and May I'm gonna be working on that. But I'm also gonna be working on some little side projects like editing this travel vlog of Greece, and I'm planning on doing some embroidery, hopefully. Yeah, maybe some painting as well. I don't know. We'll see how much time and energy I have. The book, I thought maybe I would try to do it traditionally on paper this time as opposed to like digitally. Maybe that will inspire me more. I don't know. I'm a bit nervous about doing it traditionally as well because I've been working digitally for so many years now, and when I do paint something traditionally, it's just for fun and there's no pressure on it. Whereas I feel like I'm putting quite a lot of pressure on myself with this one, which I tend to do in general. But anyways, hopefully it'll be fun and not stressful. The next video I will be sharing will be hopefully in a month's time. I don't know. This YouTube thing is quite new. It came about because I'm kind of sick of Instagram, and honestly I feel like reels are kind of annoying, and I also feel like even if I do put the effort into making reels for Instagram, they kind of get lost in the millions of reels that get shared on Instagram all the time. If I am going to speak and share, I'd rather do it in a long format and actually get to speak without like worrying about is it too long or is it snappy enough? Is it attention grabbing enough? That really stresses me out. So, you know, there are a lot of people I follow on YouTube that I always love seeing their videos, and even if they talk random stuff for like an hour, I love hearing it. So hopefully people would be into me sharing YouTube videos about my work. I don't know about the format of the videos or what or how often I'll be uploading. I'll be trying different things and in my own time see if this is something I want to keep doing. The only thing I'm worried about is time. It's a lot of effort. We'll see if I can keep up with it. As we have established, I do have ADHD, so it's really hard for me to keep up with things. Even if I commit to them, I might be doing them for like 1 or 2 months and then it just never happens again. So I'm, you know, trying to accept that about myself as well. But for now, I'm excited. It's nice. I thought I would feel more nervous speaking to the camera, but actually it's fine. It's not too bad. Hope you enjoyed it as well, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye.